A Haunting in Venice was directed by Kenneth Branagh and is based on the 1969 novel Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Features a cast including Kenneth Branagh, who plays Hercule Poirot, Michelle Yeoh and Tina Fey in a very rare non-comedic performance. The film was released on the 15th of September, and given it's been a couple of months since I actually did a review of anything, I thought it was time to give you my thoughts, and I've just got home from having seen this at the cinema. And just to run through the finer plot points, this is the synopsis. So, now retired and living in self-imposed exile in the world's most glamorous city, Poirot reluctantly attends a seance at a decaying haunted palazzo. He soon gets thrust into a sinister world of shadows and secrets when one of the guests is murdered. Before getting into kind of the nuts and bolts of the film, I will say this is going to be as much as a non-spoiler review as I can manage. I'm definitely not going to tell you what the kind of the central mystery was. These films are obviously all wrapped up in a bit of a whodunit, and to kind of give that away would kind of ruin the fun. So I would advise go and see it, and come back and have a look at this. And I think what's difficult, I did enjoy this film. I think it was a fun Sunday afternoon watch. And I think part of that is around the timing. So it's now September. I'm very much an autumnal winter type person. And this film gave me all the feels in that respect. I thought the setting was wonderful. I think the kind of rain-lashed, dark Venice that we got in the movie was really special. And you know, we've seen Venice in Don't Look Now, one of our sort of horror classics. But it had the way it was lit, the way it was filmed, I thought was particularly cozy in a weird way. And I thought that was particularly good. I haven't seen A Murder on the Orient Express and A Death on the Nile, which were the kind of two precursors to this movie. And I understand, at least from Death on the Nile, that was filmed almost 100% on green screen. And you could tell from what I understand that, you know, you're not really seeing the real Egypt, and it wasn't that great. And this film feels really organic in that respect. Like, it looks like it's been filmed 100% in Venice, and it really, really shows, and it really works for it. And as much as we don't really get actually that much time in Venice, you know, most of the film takes place in this kind of haunted palazzo setting. I think it really, really sets the film up nicely, and certainly for a Sunday afternoon when it's raining outside, that was almost perfect for me. I thought the cast was really good. It's a bit of an ensemble. There's actually quite a few unknown actors in this, or at least actors that I wasn't familiar with, but sort of enough people peppered in that kept the interest going. And ultimately, it's a murder mystery. It's good fun, and if you're into that kind of thing, I think it's going to be it's going to be interesting to you, and it's kind of fun to kind of track all the different kind of conversations and follow those clues as much as we get in a kind of murder mystery setting. That said, there was a few things that worked less well. And now, as I said, I haven't seen the first two, and I sort of went along to A Haunting in Venice because people had made more of the fact that this was more of a horror movie, or had more sort of horror movie elements than the other kind of two Kenneth Branagh produced Agatha Christie mysteries. And it's interesting because it's not, I mean, obviously I'm kind of desensitized to horror because I see a lot of it. It's not hugely scary. So I would say if that bothers you, then I wouldn't worry too much. It's predominantly a murder mystery with scares that are more from where it's set and the kind of locations and the things that we see. But there aren't a lot of massive scares. In that respect, I would say that the sort of more horror film aspects of it are the weakest bits. So there are a couple of really kind of clumsy jump scares, or I would say quite cheap jump scares that don't really fit, because I thought this was quite a classily done film, and I just didn't need things shrieking at me. There's a reason I haven't seen The Nun 2, because I kind of figured that's what that was going to be. And I actually think if the film hadn't have had those moments, it would have been fine on its own, because the spookiness of that Venice setting, the darkness, the kind of the eerie lighting, and the kind of the fireplaces giving that kind of nice eerie glow would have been plenty. And in a way, like, it's a shame that those horror elements sort of detracted from the film overall, because that's kind of when I went and saw it. I guess another thing, I don't know whether this is an Agatha Christie thing or Poirot thing, and I feel like maybe we're spoiled by, like, the Knives Out movies, for example. I think they're so tightly plotted, and there's a way that they do the reveals in those films where you genuinely feel like you've had the wool pulled over your eyes, and there's a real smartness in how the detective in that film unravels how he found out what happened. And maybe we're spoiled by that, and maybe, you know, writing is just a bit more sophisticated in those movies, or maybe just Rian Johnson's just really good at writing that. I just felt, and this is weird, I've looked at other reviews in this film, and I haven't seen this criticism, and it makes me think, did my ADHD brain just miss some stuff? And am I just being a bit thick, and I'm just not really understanding what I've just seen? But I don't really get why Poirot suddenly understood what was going on. And it felt like there was a moment in the film where everything clicked for him. I just don't feel like the audience saw that or really understood why he'd suddenly fixed this mystery. And I'm probably going to have to go back and rewatch it now and kind of look out for those signs. But I don't feel like it was as earned as you would get with a Knives Out movie, where all those moments where you're kind of questioning, like, hang on a minute, no, it can't be that simple. And things are explained in a way where you kind of go, oh, they actually were. With this film, it felt a little bit like we'd kind of run out of steam, and then we kind of just went, oh, well, this is how I've solved it. Here's the mystery. And I just don't know quite how we got there. And it happened a few times throughout the film. There were maybe 2 or 3 kind of denouements where I didn't feel they were fully earned. And ultimately, like, that sort of detracted away from the film for me, because the joy really is in those moments of, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming, and now it's so obvious. I don't know, it just felt like we rushed to that moment. So as I said, this is a non-spoiler review, so I'm going to keep it brief. I enjoyed this film for what it is. I think I'm going to watch this again, probably at home on a kind of really wintry afternoon when it's dark outside, because I think I'll enjoy it for that even more. And maybe I just need to concentrate a bit more. But yeah, I thought it was fun. It was not going to kind of change the world. It's a style of filmmaking that I think is great to see back on. You don't see this kind of film made very often. The way that it's cast, the way that it's shot, the dialogue, there's a lot of really good stuff to like. It just maybe wasn't as satisfying for me in that terms of that sort of final plot twist. So for me, it's a 6.5 out of 10, and let's see that where that kind of racks up in my kind of end of year horror ranking, albeit it's not massively a horror movie. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.